All right, I'm going to give you the easiest way to get 100% success on the Ray unlock. It's kind of easy, and mods and Zetas are for cowards. All right, tier 1, I'm going to go through the modding on all my characters and talk about the general strategy that you will apply to the next tier, and then, of course, we'll go over the third tier, which is pretty easy. This is a squad I run. It had no problems. R2D2 being at 5 or 8 or whatever he happens to be, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change too much. You get slightly better stats, but this event is super easy, so it doesn't really matter. My characters have mods. For the first couple of wins, some of them didn't, but I have since put mods on them. And then the Zetas are, I mean, whatever. I think Ray has her leadership Zeta, I guess. R2D2 has number crunch. BB-8 doesn't, and this is not super impressive on the speed or the health front. C3PO has had the same mods he's had for like 4 years at this point, and has one of his Zetas. I don't remember. I think it's the translation one. I don't remember which one it is. And then Resistance Hero Finn. We did this with worse mods. Now that I have Ray unlocked, I've given him slightly higher. I think he's like 30 or something speed higher than he was when we did the unlock, but I didn't really have any issues with it, so I doubt it's going to make a big problem, because I do all of my unlocks intentionally with terrible mods to make sure that they're 100% replicable, because there's occasionally guides where they're like, put on these god mods, and they're like, oh, but if you don't have exactly 700,000% increased offense, you won't win. Like, that's bullshit, right? This event's pretty easy. It's like basic strategy, and then just do it a bunch of times. So generally speaking, you should be calling BB-8 to assist in general in the game. But since these guys have an absolute crap ton of offense, I usually call R2D2 to assist because he has the opportunity to stun. Never AoE when you're not under stealth, because they will counterattack, so I always pass turn meter over to R2D2. If your R2D2 is faster than your Finn, you just don't have to pass over turn meter, because R2D2 just goes first, so it doesn't matter. But since my Finn is slow, I pass turn meter, and I hide BB-8. Ray does damage. I mean, when you do this, it kind of calls everyone to assist. Doesn't really matter. They will occasionally absolutely fuck you up. If they can get a mass assist going, counterattack, stuff like that, they will drop the absolute hurt train upon you. And so that's why we say, BB-8, you're going to be our sacrificial lamb. And what we want to do is try our darndest to control their turn meter with the wave, always passing turn meter over to R2D2 in an attempt to acquire more stuns. Now, my R2D2 doesn't have a lot of potency. So if you're one of those people who's hell-bent on remodding for events for whatever reason, even though it's unnecessary, potentially consider giving R2D2 some extra potency so that you can slightly control the situation a little bit more. And fun fact, the fewer turns the enemy takes, the better chance you have at winning. Oh my god, APGAINS, I can't believe you said something so provocative and so controversial, but so true. Okay, so yeah, this is a pretty easy event. You basically pass turn meter, hide BB-8, and then try your best to stun everyone. The next tier is the exact same thing. Bring in the same squad. The gameplay loop is unfortunately identical. But there's a little bit of nuances just because these guys, they do mass assists as well with Hux and stuff like that. But yeah, these three characters right here will occasionally one-shot the fuck out of you, and it's quite annoying. So I pass turn meter, I hide, I try and stun, I do get the stun, I throw my Paro Bailar La Bamba, and then I do my darndest to control the enemy team, because these three people are super annoying, and if at all possible, I want to stun them. Now, the Stormtroopers themselves don't really do a ton. They do a decent enough amount of damage to where they can be annoying, but realistically, as long as you've kind of controlled the battlefield, you should be fine. This is the most, I'm going to be honest with you, this is the most stuns. I've never had problems with this tier, but this is the most stuns I've ever gotten. So it probably won't be this easy for you, but that being said, it's still unbelievably easy, and you shouldn't really have You shouldn't really have any problems with it. Now, you guys ready for the most fun part? We're going to talk about this tier, and then we're going to talk about the ultimate, and it's going to be fantastic. All right, this tier requires 2 brain cells exactly, but 1 brain cell is required to click buttons, and the other brain cell is required to say your mantra. No, it's not I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me, whatever the fuck he says when he walks and somehow doesn't get shot. No, you're going to utter the mantra that is as old as Galaxy of Heroes itself. Feint, strike, parry, strike, feint, strike, parry, strike. All right, so what do I mean? All right, so do this over and over again, and honestly, you don't even need to know why. You're going to have a loop, and you're going to do the loop forever, with one exception, which we'll talk about. Feint, right here, you're going to press this button, and then immediately after, and this is why you have to say it out loud, because occasionally you forget, and then you fall into this lackadaisical dream where everything around you fades into nothingness, and you want to blow your brains out. Strike. Parry. Strike. That's the loop. You do that forever until you win. There is one exception, so we'll go feint, and I'll show you when that exception pops up. Strike. Parry. Wait for it. Take a wild guess in chat. I'm going to actually stop so that you can leave a comment. Thank you. Strike. All right, so this is the one exception. So when you get these question marks, it's called misplay, I think. Whatever part of the loop that you're in, whether you're starting from the top or you're about to do your parry, whenever you see these, we stop, and instead we press the first button, the strike button, and we get our point that way. And then once we get our 3 little stacks of whatever the hell that is of Rochambeau, we press this button and we teleport, and then we end up teleporting back and then teleporting back. And then we just start the loop over. If feint, strike, say it with me. You literally have to say it out loud, or I will come to your house and I will beat you off. Parry, strike. Feint. Oh, but wait. We're supposed to do a feint, strike, parry, strike, feint, strike, parry, feint, strike. But now we do a strike on misplays. It doesn't matter what part of the loop you are when you do it. So let's say I had done feint, strike, and then he gets a misplay and I strike. We don't want to then go to parry, even though technically that's the next thing. Every time a misplay happens, you just restart the cycle over again. It probably doesn't matter because you'll have an advantage, and even if he gets a point, doesn't really matter. Like he has a point here somehow, you'll still win. It's impossible for him to win. All right, so let me just do this, and we'll do this, and we'll show you that we go back to the greatest place on earth back here, and it's done. All right, the ultimate tier. The ultimate tier, I will have a video for that will be like 1 or 2 minutes long, and it will be right here, but it won't be here for like 24 hours or something like that until I do it. So if you're watching this the second it comes out, just come back tomorrow or the next day, and this video will magically appear, or you'll just see it on your sub feed, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later.